We've seen superheroes hide their identities. The reason could be anything from trying to protect their families or just escaping judgment. Some even want to keep both lives separate, but there are a few that just don't bother with this arrangement. Call them fearless or plain stupid, you can't deny that a hidden identity is slowly becoming an outdated idea. In today's video, we'll talk about some DC heroes who don't hide their identities. To start with, we've got one from the many Green Lanterns at number 10. Kyle Rayner took charge when Hal Jordan had to take a break to gather himself. Initially, he had a mask, one that covered more of his face than Hal's did, and he learned the importance of it right after his girlfriend was killed by Major Force. But once that happened, he went back to letting go of that identity. More so because as time passed, more of his relationships started to develop with the fellow Green Lanterns and other heroes. So there wasn't any point in staying hidden behind a mask anymore. Once things fell back into place and Hal returned, Kyle completely dropped the whole thing and started going with his actual name. Next up, Black Adam at number 9, the guy that everyone's talking about these days. Now, he might not appear to be a hero by certain standards, but if you've seen the movie, you know he never kills an innocent person. So, thanks, maybe? Anyway, to better explain why he doesn't use a secret identity, let's just take a step back. Black Adam has an ancient Egyptian background. In fact, he spent his life in slavery before getting superhuman powers from the wizard Shazam. Once he was freed from the wizard, he became a villain, but eventually switched to an anti-hero, the arc we see in the new movie. Now, talking about his identity, frankly speaking, he never hid from the crowd. A major reason for this is the way he got his powers. Trying to revert back to his human form would instantly kill him, so he just stays in his Black Adam form. Not that he would have cared even if he could. Having said that, some could argue that the Black Adam form is in fact an identity that hides his true self from the world, but it doesn't make sense since he can never change back to his human form, leaving him to just be Black Adam. Coming up at number 8, we have John Stewart. Here we have another Green Lantern who doesn't like to use a secret identity. Just like Kyle at one time, Stewart also wore a mask, and eventually he dropped it and stuck with his actual name. And considering that he spent most of his life with the Corps, this could never be a problem. The name became his identity, and rightly so. So much so that everybody called him by his name, even on the battlefield where usually the Corps or heroes use code names or superhero names. In a situation like that, even if he wanted to drop the name, he couldn't. Now, let's not forget that John Stewart has come out to be a phenomenal Green Lantern, one of the best, if not the best. In fact, he's proven time and time again that his fellow Green Lanterns and other teams, such as the Justice League, can always rely on him for saving the day, no matter how big the threat. With such an impactful personality and sheer fearlessness in the face of the enemy, there's no doubt he doesn't bother hiding away himself. Like, would he? Now at the 7th spot, it's Zatanna. Hearing the name Zatanna, Zatara sure gets one to think that it's just one of the many other superhero monikers that many characters got, but that's not the case here. If anything, Zatanna Zatara is solely the property of just one person because it's her actual name. Her name is undoubtedly one of the most superheroic names of all the DC characters, and no wonder she doesn't hide it. Plus, she's highly skilled and powerful enough to take down any enemy that comes her way. It's like she wants them to come for her so that she can let her know who she is. Adding to that, Zatanna only had a father that she loved, and he too passes away, so there's no way her identity is hurting anyone else. She's also really proud of her heritage and the way she's been brought up by her father, so letting go of all that wouldn't be very Zatanna-like. Following up, Donna Troy at number 6. Donna Troy started her journey as Wonder Girl, helping form the young team of superheroes called the Teen Titans. The team included Robin, Kid Flash, and Aqualad alongside herself, to name a few. In the next phase of her life, she adopted the name Troia, but that didn't last very long, probably because it was too similar to her actual name, that it was serving no purpose in helping her hide her identity. But then she just went straight to her real name, Donna Troy, after her husband and child got killed in an accident. You see, most of these superheroes adopt a second identity as a selfless act of keeping their family safe. As sad as it may sound, once that reason is eliminated, hiding behind a name or a mask just doesn't make any sense, to them at least, and that's exactly what Donna went through as well. In fact, much like the rest of the heroes that work in teams, all the people she started to care for were superheroes, so she didn't have much to worry about anymore. Now let's look at Wonder Woman at number 5. You might be confused seeing Wonder Woman's name on the list because she does have a secret identity in the film, and you'd be absolutely right about that. In fact, she even had an alter ego by the name of Diana Prince in the comics. With this identity, she was able to work in the city with without the public knowing who she really was. And that was the goal, right? Plus, to help her attempt at secrecy, Diana even tried wearing glasses and a suit to cover it up. But all that changed right after the Crisis events. Then she was known as Diana of Themyscira, and proudly flaunted that title. Plus, she also let go of her glasses because there was nothing to hide anymore. Moving on, the fourth spot is taken by Aquaman. Aquaman is one of those who never hid their face or name or anything else. Plain and simply, Arthur Curry. That's also because Arthur was the king of Atlantis, and it doesn't play well when the king has his face hidden from the public that he rules over. But he also didn't care about all of that and carried his identity everywhere he went. In fact, everyone in the comics always knew that Arthur Curry and Aquaman are the same person. With that said, being honest about the fact that he's half human and half Atlantean helped unite the surface humans and the people of Atlantis after all. We're in the top 3 now. First up, it's John Constantine at number 3. John Constantine is a pretty complex guy. In fact, he's sometimes titled as the bad boy of DC. All in all, trying to do the right thing and failing at it is what John is famously known for. Along with that, he has a ton of skills under his belt. He's more prominently known for his magical abilities. And mind you, John is very sensitive about his reputation. It's the most important thing to him. In respect of that, John stays as true as he can to himself. In fact, he doesn't even have a superhero name. It's literally his birth name that he uses to title himself. And that shows that John isn't really a big fan of secret identities or masked heroes. All that matters to him is to project his real self to the people so that when they need help, they can rush to him and trust him in the process. Followed by Elongated Man at number 2. Elongated Man was the superhero name for the guy named Ralph Dibny. He was one of the first DC superheroes to reveal his true identity to the public, and he did it in the Silver Age of comics, which is pretty early even for comics. Right after revealing his identity, Ralph got married and settled down. Honestly, that's pretty bold of him to make such moves, especially in that order. You see, secret identities are pretty important, even if some heroes don't think so. But there's the thing, the ones who boldly reveal their identities do so when they don't have a weakness that could be used against them. The Elongated Man probably didn't think of this, and so his wife eventually got murdered, followed by his own death as well. Last but not least, it's Superman. We're sure this is another shocker like Wonder Woman, except that this one's even bigger. The whole world knows that Superman has always used Clark Kent as a second identity to protect his loved ones, and to be honest, himself too. But in 2019, all of this changed when Superman revealed to the world that he's also Clark Kent. As bold as the move could be considered, Kal-El thought that it was in everyone's interest that he was honest with the public about his true self. But really though, we're sad that the iconic Clark Kent stands for nothing anymore. That's a wrap for this video. Who else do you think should be on the list? Let us know in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. See you in the next one.